Folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today I plan on finishing up the hair combs that we started with our painting the other day. So we have 3 hair combs to make. They're relatively simple. I've got the hard part really is painting them, and frequently I have done that painting before we even start putting the combs together, because a lot of times when I decide to paint, I paint a whole bunch of stuff at once. This time we didn't do that. I just painted what I needed for these hair combs. So that's why we painted them on video and as a part 1. So now we're at part 2, putting them together. It's probably going to take us less time to put them together than it did to paint them, but we'll see what happens. The first thing you're going to need is, of course, the pieces that we painted, or your blank combs. These are the larger blank combs. They're 10 teeth. The one with the flowers and the butterfly are going to go on those. And then, of course, we have the 5 teeth in blanks in both silver and gold. So let's turn down and we'll get started. We're still on our green silicone mat. That's because we're gluing. We'll be using some E6000 to put these together. It's a very tough but flexible, clear drying glue, which is perfect for putting these and barrettes and such as that together. So the first thing we need to do is put on our base pieces. So we're going to start with these. This is going to be the simplest pair here, actually. So we're just going to put a line of glue across the top bar there on both these and the little silver ones. Now that I've got that on, we'll put the lid back on for temporarily here. And we're going to take these little silver pieces, these are gold. Let's not call them silver, they're gold. Give them a complex. And we're going to put it right dab in the center of that bar. Now you can turn it around so you can see exactly where you're sitting at. So there is our centerpiece on this one. Now we'll turn around and do the same on this one. So just put it in place, turn it over, look and see if you're in a good spot, and if you're not, adjust it. So there are the base pieces for the gold ones, which are, of course, our teacup and our tea kettle. Next is our blue, and we're going to want these to go in the center also, like so. The difference for this one is we're going to want one to go one direction and the other to go the other direction. And that's because we want these to be opposites, so that when you put them in your hair, they look like they're going straight. So there is the base pieces for these, both of these pair. Now, if you'll recall from our painting, you'll know that the hot air balloons go on here, as well as the little moons. And on this one over here is the kettle and the cup. These are the large ones, and we will start gluing those next. But this gluing is going to be a wee bit different, because instead of just having one piece across the base, we're going to have 3 with the 2 leaves and the flowers. So we'll have to put some glue on and get those started. So this one, again, we want to just put some glue across our main bar here. The difference is we're going to put the 2 leaves on, and then we're going to see where we need to put more glue for the flowers, because the leaves will not go all the way across, but they'll go most of the way across. And the flower is just going to sit in the middle, so it will be needing its own glue. So we'll take our leaves and we'll put it down We want it on this side of the 5 pieces, like so. And then this other one will be exactly the same, except for on the other side, like so. Now we'll flip it over, see how far off they are. We want this up to more like the middle. So up it comes, like so. And then we'll flip this over and let it sit for a little while we put our other leaves on the other side. So again, goes over all 5 of this side and all 5 of this side. Now we're going to adjust it because, as you can see, this is not quite right. Now it's good. So now, because we need to also put those flowers on, let's get these away from these a little bit so we have some more room to work here. And we'll put these guys up here where we just took the flowers out of. So now we got our flowers to go on. So I want them to go like so. So because we want that, we're going to need to put glue. We can see that the glue needs to sit on the leaves so that it sticks on these 4 petals. The other 2 do not need the glue so much, but those 4 petals do. So we'll get our glue back out. We'll pull this off because it has been sitting in the glue that's on there already a little bit. Then we're going to put our glue on the petal and just sort of smear it. You don't need to put a ton of it, just enough to get it to hook down. We're going to flip it around and drop it into place. Is that in the center? I think it's a teeny bit this direction. Because see, here's our center point. There we go. That should be good. So now we'll do the same with the second one. Just grab it here at the two of them, because we only want the 4 that are in the middle part with glue. So let's get the glue for there. There we go. We'll close this baby back up. Put it aside and get this flower in the center. Okay, it dropped slightly out of center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how that point is not quite in the center point? So we just need to slide it over some and then push it down into place. So now these 2 just have to sit aside for a little while that glue dries, that's on there, dries a little bit. I have a little glue on my fingers, so I'm going to dry that off, wipe that off some. And then we'll have to put our flowers on. Now I am going to probably put a jewel right here in the center of these. And in fact, since that one has enough glue popping out to do that, I'll just get another teeny bit of glue right here on this one. And we'll get some crystals out to drop onto those spots. Well, let's see, what color of crystal do we want to use? Do we want a pink or a purple orange? Or maybe we just want a clear. I do have some nice clear ones right here that will work just perfectly. So we'll get our tweezer out. Where are you, tweezer? There you are. Hopefully not getting any glue on anything else. And we'll pull a crystal out. And 2 crystals. Now I want to make sure they're the same size. See, these are 2 different sizes. So I'm thinking I want the smaller size probably. So there it is. We'll close this back up. Then we'll get our crystals put in place. Now, since this was the original one, it's likely that I saw it's likely to be starting to dry. So we need to get the crystal on. It wasn't. I just got glue all over my finger. Crystal on this one. Okay. So now those will need to dry a little bit before we put the butterflies on. But as soon as we put the butterflies on, these two, they will be done. Now these, since this one was the first one to dry, or to be put down, is probably the driest. So as I said, what we want to do is put the tea cup on one side and the tea kettle on the other. So in order to do that, we just need to get some more E6000 and glue our pieces down. So since I already pulled the teacup back off, we'll start with it. Just take hold of it, and we want at least all the way around the edges. And since this is concave because of the shape, you'll probably want to drop a little bit of glue into the middle of your cup here, so that when the glue cut, because it of course won't be dry right away, when you sink it down onto your piece, your glue will settle down and come down to fill in the gaps and come down and get stuck in here better. So there is our cup. Now I want it, it's a little higher than I want it. It's got some runnels, so we'll have to clean that off later. But we want to bring it down just a hair's breadth there. And give it a tiny twist. So there's our teacup on. So we'll set that aside. See, it dripped glue down here? That's fine, because this is our silicone mat and it will come back off. So now we want to do the same with our teapot, glue it and put it down in place. Now a little in the handle. Now you want to try and not get gobs in the handle or the spout, because it's going to pop out and be on your filigree piece. Now that's all right, because you can get it off, the excess off, if you do it relatively quickly. You don't want to do it instantly because it needs to dry to a degree, but you want to do it like in about 15-20 minutes. So by the time we get to the last one, these might be ready to clean up. So now we have this set. Other than cleanup, this set's done with the teapot and the tea kettle. I mean the teacup and the tea kettle. I notice I have, in working this, I've got this one prong up, so I'm going to work those down. There we go, that's better. So that set is only waiting to dry and be cleaned up, and it's done. So let's bring our blue ones back down here. These are the ones we alcohol inked, and our hot air balloons. We'll put these guys up there so they're not in our way as we work. Over here. I'm going to put this way because there's a pin underneath here, and I don't want it to bump our pieces up too high until they dry some, so they won't have any pressure on them. Okay, so now we have our hot air balloons. Now these two did not have a particular right or left, because I just put one side with the teapot and one side with the cup. But see what I mean about the glue? See how I can just rub it right off with it when it starts to dry, as far as the mat is concerned. These ones are going to have a definite right and left, because the balloon is going to go on the larger side. like so. Now unfortunately all the little moons go the same direction, so I can't reverse it, but they're going to go here. Come on, you move it just a hair's breadth. There we go. And then the other one is going to go over here. So there we have our moon. Our hot air balloon is going to be floating in our night sky. Come on, little moon. And he'll be sitting somewhere like that. So they're going to look like so when they're finished. Now we just have to glue them into place. So we'll dump our pieces back off again. We know what we're going to do. And we'll start by putting our hot air balloons on both sides. So I'm going to take and see how this one is very, very concave. We're going to put plenty of glue to fill the basket up. Then we're going to go down and we're going to go all the way around the edges with a goodly amount of glue. Then we'll give it a little bit in the center just so it has some glue right there. And then we're going to put it in place. Do the same with the other side. Okay, next step, of course, is our little moon. So we'll put glue. I've got a hunk of glue sticking to my hand here. So we're going to get our little moon and get some glue on him. Oop, come on. Don't need a hanging off of you like a... And we'll put our moon in place. And this one's finished except for cleanup, and do the same with this guy over here. Now the only real difference is because I've got them going opposite directions. This little guy is now going to be facing the balloon, whereas the other one is of the moons is facing away from it. Come here, you. A little bit more this way. There we go. Now see, I did get a blob of glue right there. It will need some cleaning. So this one is done other than cleanup. So there is hair comb number 2. So let's bring forth our flowers again. And we'll put our hot air balloons back here. And now what we're going to do with these two is we have a glue runner is what we have here. We have our butterflies. Now our butterflies, because we're wanting to have these opposite, one butterfly is going to sit this direction and the other one is going to sit this direction. Now my original thinking was I'd put the butterfly in the middle of the flower, but then I decided I want to put that crystal there, so it's going sideways like this. So all we have to do for the butterflies to put them on is, again, we want to get our E6000, take hold of with both wings like so, and flip it a little bit, and it's going to go right down here through the bug's abdomen, because the wings are already sticking up. So all we're going to do is use the abdomen for our gluing area. So like so. Now we're going to do the same over here. This one obviously had a little loose glue because the butterfly stuck a little bit. Go down the abdomen. tighten our glue up because we're finished with it. Flip our butterfly, and he's going to hit the floor. A little bit too soon, obviously, about the butterfly's glue being done, because that one hit glue side down on the floor. I just had to wipe glue off the floor, and half of his glue is down on the floor still. So he needs a little bit more, so he'll have plenty to stick here. So this time, let's hope not to drop him. Right here at the crystal. And there is this pair done. Now, it's time to do some cleanup. Aren't they pretty? So let's see if they are dry enough that I can clean up any extra globs of glue, at least on the teapot ones. So let's put these back here so they're out of our way. I have glue under my fingernail. Ick. Now, if you didn't like getting glue or paint on your fingers, you can always wear surgical gloves when you work on things like this. I don't care to. I don't think it's necessary for me anyway. But if you're a little more picky about what you get on your hands, by all means, get some surgical gloves to use to so you don't get paint and glue on your fingers. Now this has got a little bit of excess glue right here, so I'm getting hold of it with the tweezer. And I'm trying to ease it out of the spots it's in so we can get it off of our hair comb. Now, I always advise you to keep a paper towel near you when you're working with glue or with paint, either one. It's very nice to have it to clean your fingers up. So there we have our 3 sets of hair combs all finished, the 2 smaller sets and the 2 the larger set. Now these will have to dry for 24 hours to make sure that the glue has set up good, and nothing will wiggle then. But there we go. There's our teapot and teacup, our hot air balloon and the moon in the night sky, and our butterflies on their flowers. Aren't those pretty? Go, our 3 sets of hair combs. Now, the first one we made was, of course, our teapot and tea kettle. Aren't those pretty? Now, I'm going to put these in the drying rack in just a minute. Second was our hot air balloons and our moons. They'd probably be worn this direction, like so. And lastly, of course, there is our larger ones with the flower and the butterfly. So there's our 3 sets of hair combs. Now if you wanted to wear it these way. So I hope you enjoyed making those with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.